Hey everybody, this is Stephanie Janisek. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, we're going to be discussing defending George Lucas because apparently the failure of The Last Jedi and the backlash the fans are giving Disney is now somehow his fault, even though he had nothing to do with it. So, let's all just kind of wrap our minds around this as I tell the story. 2012, George Lucas gave Kathleen Kennedy the reins to Lucasfilm. After getting the major three to come back for the movie, he sold Lucasfilm to Disney. And we know the story. J.J. Abrams was hired to produce and direct The Force Awakens. It sucked. And it turned into this piece of shit, The Last Jedi, which is a dumpster fire. I've never actually seen backlash the way I've seen backlash against a movie in my life. For every good review by a fan, there are about 15 or 20 bad reviews. It's got a 50% Rotten Tomatoes rating. But let's talk about what Lucas had in mind. George Lucas read a book by this guy, Joseph Campbell, called The Hero with a Thousand Faces, and put together the Star Wars mythos. I'm not going to get into everything that was part of it, but George had been on the cutting edge of technology in Hollywood for a while before he embarked on making Star Wars. He got $10 million from Fox to start filming his space opera, his saga. And if you don't know what saga means, go look it up, because it does not mean what you think it means. Hired Mark Hamill to play Luke Skywalker, Carrie Fisher to play Princess Leia, and of course this guy, Harrison Ford, to play Han Solo. This is the movie that the first Star Wars is where we got to meet R2-D2, Chewbacca, and it basically set a new precedent in movie making, in storytelling, technology, the cutting edge, and actually characters that matter. Obi-Wan Kenobi, and of course, it was our first glimpse of probably the most fearsome bad guy in movie history, Darth Vader. 1977, it came out, and it was an event. It was a change in filmmaking forever, and it set these three to become legends. Harrison Ford became, when adjusted for inflation, the biggest box office star of all time. Mark Hamill became a legend as Luke Skywalker, and Carrie Fisher became the princess, and that's who she was, and that's proud of that too. And Lucas became a legend in his own right, as a director. So fast forward 20 years, and he wants to make the prequels, talk about the rise and fall of Anakin Skywalker, from little boy to young Padawan learning to confused Jedi who's not quite getting to where he thinks his ambitions should take him, and who falls under the spell of this character, Senator Palpatine, the Emperor, who seduces him, and Anakin becomes Darth Vader. In other words, killing Anakin and becoming this evil monster, who basically is, I think, one of the most, if not the most perfect movie villain of all time. I mean, you can't get more menacing and scary than Darth Vader. But let's talk about Lucas. Not only did Lucas give us Star Wars, he gave us movies like American Graffiti, set examples of high standards for technology and movie making, and basically bridge a gap between special effects and storytelling. And we cannot forget one of the other great gifts that he gave us is Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark, and those movies, which are some of my favorite of all time. And when these three got together, Spielberg, Lucas, and Ford, magic happened. And that is who George Lucas was. He was able to bridge gaps, and he is able to bridge gaps. And he is one of the top 4 directors of the last 50 years: Scorsese, Spielberg, Coppola, and Lucas. So why is it his fault, after making movies he wanted to make, that The Last Jedi sucks so bad? This is what I think is going on. I think what's going on is that The Last Jedi is getting its butt kicked in actual sales. They're not making the money on toys there are no, the repeat viewers are down because people are simply angry about what they saw and are fed up and aren't going back to see it, and word of mouth is getting around. This is why the Rotten Tomatoes audience score is 50%, and it'll probably go lower by the time the movie leaves the theater. It's a bad movie. I mean, let's just be honest with this. It's a bad movie. And the only reason, and the only people that are to blame for it being a bad movie is Kathleen Kennedy, Bob Iger, who greenlit this monstrosity, and Rian Johnson, who didn't direct a Star Wars movie. He directed a Rian Johnson movie, and he's nothing more than a little indie film guy. Why did he get this job? Quirky works with a $5 million budget. It does not work in Star Wars. And really, these three characters, Han, Luke, and Leia, deserve better than what they got. The fans deserved better. And I gotta say that these three, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, and Mark Hamill, deserved better, to be remembered better, and George Lucas himself deserved better. This is not his fault. That Disney's sending out their surrogates trying to remind us about how much we hated the prequels. Well, actually, all Rian Johnson did was tell us how much we liked the prequels, because they are George Lucas's vision, and he is Star Wars. This is his creation, all right? So if you don't like what he did, then why are you a Star Wars fan? Because you ate up the OT, all right? If you don't like the mythos surrounding it and the rules that Rian Johnson deliberately broke because he wanted to do something different, then you're not a Star Wars fan. Go away and find something else to watch, okay? Because there's a reason why people are angry. They expected a big reveal for Rey. Rey nobody is bullshit, and we all know it's bullshit. Now, Rian Johnson himself is backtracking, leaving it open to interpretation. And the moment you hear Kylo Ren say what he said to Rey, your parents are probably drunks who died in a ditch and sold you for liquor and all the rest of that shit, you know he's lying to her. So Rian Johnson backpedaling just proves that we caught him trying to be cute and funny, and this is Star Wars. You can't be cute or funny. You're telling a story. It is supposed to rhyme, and it's supposed to mirror the rest of the saga, and you can't just take it off into some other opposite direction. In fact, I fully expect him to get his 3-movie deal to be taken away from him now, because he went so far off the beaten path, and that's why people are angry. It's not our fault that we're angry. It's their fault. So blaming George Lucas is just a way of deflecting the fact that we all know they made a shitty movie. And they had a great basis. I mean, the fact is, The Force Awakens wasn't a good movie, but there was stuff you could build on. And instead of building on it, Johnson just ran off the reservation and was encouraged to do so. And now they're all paying the karmic debt that they built up for going against everything that Star Wars is about. I'll talk more about this later, but the blaming George Lucas is just it's desperation. I think I really do. I think it's desperation. People know it's a bad movie, and they're desperate. And a friend of mine who's in the movie business said something about people are preparing their golden parachutes to get out, and they should. They should. But like I said before, I think Rian Johnson will likely get his 3-movie trilogy taken away from him because The Last Jedi is such a horrible movie. And if they want to save it, if J.J. Abrams wants to come out of this like a hero, then he's going to have to fix what Johnson broke. No more Rey nobody. She's either a Skywalker, a Solo, or a mix thereof, because her just appearing out of fucking nowhere is ludicrous. No more kowtowing to Adam Driver's fans. Please. I mean, you want to drive the regular fans, the real Star Wars fans away, just keep doing that. You have to explain Snoke. Alright? That was set up too in The Force Awakens, and of course, the artiste ignored that. You know, you have to fix it. It's a problem you have to fix, and it's fixable. I mean, there are people that are going to go, well, this doesn't make any sense. Well, if you go back to The Force Awakens, then it will make sense. I would just say, in the meetings, I would just say, we're just going to have to toss this whole thing out, because it really is a terrible movie. And what makes me angry is that they're forcing Mark Hamill to walk back his comments and walk back what he told Rian Johnson, which is bullshit. Rian Johnson disrespected him. He disrespected George Lucas. He disrespected the fans. And, you know, it's time someone said that. Kathleen Kennedy did the same thing. You know, the Force is neither male or female, Kathleen. It's just the Force. All right? So keep your politics out of Star Wars, okay? And stop blaming George Lucas for the mess you created. This is not his problem. You ignored everything he said. You ignored the fact that he gave you templates for the next 3 movies. Basically said fuck you to him. And now you've got a great big old-fashioned mess on your hands, and you deserve it. You deserve what you're getting from the fans. You deserve all of it. And the Schadenfreude and will be excellent. The karmic debt coming due for you people who made this shitty movie will be excellent to watch. And so I look forward to it. And the biggest mistake you've made now is trying to go after George Lucas when he had absolutely nothing to do with it. All right? So this is Steph signing out. And if you want to watch a good Star Wars movie, watch Revenge of the Sith. Okay? See y'all around the galaxy. Talk to you later. By the way, this is real quick. I'm going to finish up my the Carrie Fisher thing, Princess Leia, character assassination of Princess Leia thing, probably within the next few days. I just haven't had any time to do it. So look, keep watching for that one. Talk to y'all later. See you around the galaxy.